More now on the fallout from that BBC's investigation into Princess Diana's Panorama interview. Well, Paul Burrell was her butler at the time. And he joins me now. Hi, Paul. It's really good to see you this morning. How, you know,
morning,
she was your boss, but you also admired her and you loved her. And how are you feeling this morning about all of this?
Let's remember who she was. A truly inspirational and unique human being who was taken advantage of. And William was quite right by what he said. This Panorama interview and her association with Martin Bashir fueled her fears and paranoia and isolation. And she was failed by him. She trusted him. I drove him regularly from White City to Kensington Palace and underneath the blanket in the back of my car to meet with the princess, to have chats, to have fun times. He was like a small child, excited in a sweet shop. He was all too happy to be there, but we didn't know at the time how duplicitous and how he was and what he really wanted from the princess. So I think it's very sad that she went to her grave and never knew the real Martin Bashir. She just saw a version of him.
It's really interesting, though, because there you were, if you like, in a way, acting as a go-between, you know, bringing him to Diana. But she sent you away. You didn't see that interview. She sent you away, didn't she? Why do you think she did that?
Well, because, you know, Lorraine, I came from the big house. I came from the establishment. I'd been with the Queen for 11 years, standing beside her. So I followed all those rules. And coming into the princess's world, it was totally different. And it was more relaxed and more informal. And I think she must have felt, well, Paul is full of all those old-fashioned rules and regulations, and he might not approve or agree with what I'm about to do. So although I knew Martin Bashir, on the day of the interview, the princess said to me, oh, go home and see your family. You haven't seen them today.
Right.
And so I did. But the next morning when I came into work, I noticed that the furniture had been moved, that there were little dints in the carpet where the caster had sat. And I said, what's been going on in there? She said, well, I had an exercise class and we had to move the furniture. It wasn't until a few days later she actually sat me down and said, I've got a confession to make and I want to tell you that I did a recording with Martin Bashir. And I said, well, what did you say? And she said, well, not much. I said, honestly, not much? She said, yes, promise. It wasn't. It was a lot.
It was a lot, Paul, yeah.
But Lorraine, let's take us back to that time. Let's go back to 1995. And all of this started, and the fuse was lit when the Prince of Wales decided to go on the Dimbleby interview and discuss his infidelity, to discuss he'd had an affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. Now, I was with the princess that night. She was incensed, absolutely incensed, furious. She says, I've been made to look a fool. She says, I'm the fall guy. I can't face anyone. I can't go out. So that's the famous night, of course. I dressed her in the Christina Strambolian dress to go out to the Serpentine Gallery.
Beautiful black dress, I remember.
She looked stunning.
Amazing.
She took the front pages of the newspapers the next day and took the weight away from the Prince of Wales. Now, at this time in 1995, it was the War of the Waleses. Yeah. And because the Prince of Wales did that and fired an Exocet missile into the middle of the princess's camp, she had to retaliate. She wanted to retaliate. She wanted the people to know what she was thinking, what she was feeling, her words. And so she set in a plan through her official office with Patrick Jeffson to have an interview with Panorama. Now, back in the day, that was going to be conducted by Nicholas Witchell. And had he done that, it would have been a totally different interview. In the meantime, Martin Bashir comes in the back door to Althorp, convinces Earl Spencer, wrongly, that people are spying on the princess, and gets to the princess through that avenue and takes over. So then he manipulates the situation for his own ends, and actually he got the result he wanted. And the princess once said to me, she said, you know, I'm not sure whether he's going to get more out of this than me, because it is my words. They were her words. It's what she wanted to say. That interview would have happened no matter what without Martin Bashir, and she would have had her words out there in the public. she was hurt. She was vulnerable.
Yeah,
she was paranoid.
Very vulnerable, and that was preyed upon. And what do you think about this morning? What both her sons have said? I mean, I thought that statement from William was astonishingly good, and like I said, very statesmanlike. You know, very measured, and he'd obviously thought about it a lot. And Harry goes a step further, of course. And
they're hurt, and quite rightly, the boys are hurt, and I'm stood behind them, supporting them and Earl Spencer in all of this, because it's just so wrong what happened to her. She trusted this man. She really trusted him. She told him personal secrets. He told her personal secrets. And, you know, that interview accelerated the princess's life. If Andrew Morton's book accelerated the separation, Panorama accelerated the divorce. And, of course, then the princess's life just accelerated beyond control. In fact, one of the last things I said to her was, please slow down. I can't keep up with you. There's only me in the house now, and, you know, you're just moving too fast. Can you please slow down? But she wasn't. It's so sad, Paul. It's just incredibly, incredibly sad, all of this, that, you know, a very, very vulnerable woman, and, you know, and as both her sons have said, you know, it feeded her paranoia. Yes, but some have said, Lorraine, but some have said that her security detail was taken away because of the Panorama interview. Not true. The princess dismissed her security detail in 1993 because she was worried that they were running tails back to the Prince of Wales camp. Oh, dear. So she didn't have any policemen or any security at all. So that wasn't a result of Panorama. It's interesting, though, about the relationship. You know, trust is a very difficult thing to get back. And I don't know how they can get that back. You know, it's like what Russell was saying, the establishment attacking the establishment. Yes, it's true. But Martin Bashir he conned his way in, didn't he? He conned his way into the princess's inner circle, and he fooled everybody. And I think that's what William and Harry are frightened of today, what happened to their mother happening to them. And they are very, very guarded. Both of them are very guarded with their private lives and their personal lives. And so they should be, because they've seen what happens on the other hand. It's just like, you know what's interesting? The letter was very interesting, wasn't it? The letter the princess wrote. The first time I'd seen that letter, it was written by the princess. It's her hand, and she did write it, but it was an odd letter saying that she hadn't seen any documents and that she had no regrets. Now, it was as if it had been dictated to her. And it could be Martin Bashir's greatest asset now, the fact the princess did write that letter. Yeah. But she put on it no regrets. And that's not true, because she said to me, I did have one regret with the interview. I did regret speaking about James Hewitt, because I wondered how that would affect William and Harry. Of course, so there were regrets there, but that was his get out of jail free letter that he had. And it was, wasn't it? It's really interesting. Paul, it's always good to talk to you. It's just, unfortunately, a very, very sad day for everybody that loved Diana. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub, and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.